Hello. My regular subscribers know that I'm always messing about with audio and video equipment, and today I'm just going to be looking at a couple of professional Sony LCD monitors. One I've had for a while and one I've had in recently, and I just want to experiment with them. So let's just have a few minutes pressing buttons, looking at the connectors and seeing what these two professional grade Sony monitors do for us. We've looked at this one before. This is a Sony LMD-230W professional monitor. It's just got power and a multi-way connector here, and that goes through to this MEU-WX1 control unit, and that has options for different inputs around the back. So I'll show you how it's configured. Just manhandled this monitor back into place. I should say it's remarkably heavy, much heavier than you'd expect for a monitor of its size. It's always got some serious chassis in there. Now the way we switch this on is with the power switch on the front of the control unit. Right, that's come up with whatever source I was using. It's actually connected to an HDV deck via a component, and the HDV deck is powered up, so we have the HDV menu screens on there. There wasn't, what I thought was a bit poor, there's no obvious way to do your labelling. I just had to do a label printer. You'd have thought they'd arranged something so you could label your inputs. But I'm going to go to Digibeta, switch this Digibeta on, and I think you can see a little bit of flicker, but it's not really there. It comes up with nice colour bars, except I was always a little bit disappointed here with the transition. That's got a bit of a sort of a black line in that transition. I don't know why that's there, considering this is now connected via SDI. The other thing that was a little disappointing is a black level. If you're straight up to it, it's okay, but when you're looking from above, I don't know if you can see, but there's distinctly grey. Doesn't have very good black level on this one. Let's go through menu. I'm going to step through some of the options here. So it's got one option installed, which is that the SDI option? I have to look that one up. And no second option installed, and it would be really nice if I did have another input, so that would be on this pin, this button here. So yes, if there was an option there, I think B1 option, that would give me another digital input. So if anyone's got to scrap one of these with another option card, please let me know, because that'd be handy for connecting up. Quite a nice feature is there are little speakers in here, and a good old-fashioned wind-up volume control. What's perhaps a little disappointing is regarding these inputs. Many of them use the same physical connectors on the back, so the composite and YC, for example, use the same connectors, so you can't necessarily have as many inputs as you think you can here. Okay, so that's the monitor I've been using for some time, but I've been given another monitor, so let's play with that. So what we have here, I'll just go around the back, is a Sony BVM-L230. Its control unit is BKM-16R. In the back we just have DC in and a LAN connector. So in this case, we have the inputs on the back of the monitor itself. We have one option installed, space for 3 more, DVI in, that's power to the control unit, that's LAN, not sure if that's to this, and around the back we just have power. While we're looking at these options, I think I have another option. So it says digital HD It's digital or HD SDI, and it has 2 inputs and a monitor out. So I think they're the same, those two, but I can install this in slot 2. I really might as well. Cool, these haven't been undone before. Extremely tight. Oh, before I can power this up, I need to connect up another cable. So it appears that they work as a pair, these, so there's LAN and the power connector. Right, the switch on the back of this control unit says LAN or peer-to-peer, and I think it'll be in peer-to-peer operation the way it's working here. The tab is broken off this network cable, so I'll still use it, but that'll need replacing or repairing. Looking around the front here, we have a memory slot for some kind of remembering your configuration. It says standard or duo. Oh, for heaven's sake, not that Sony nonsense. Oh look, the original film is still on the display. Shall I leave that on there for the time being? Here's our, I think, our inputs and menus, very similar to the other one, and power there. Okay, let's plug it in. I should say that I've just put this here, and this is over the weight rating of the desk for sure. It's unbelievably heavy. It's as heavy as a CRT monitor. Okay, I'll switch it on. I don't have a signal connected to it at the moment. Big power switch at the back. Power light flashing on the monitor. Down here we have a power light flashing. I don't know if that's good or bad. Switch that on. That stopped flashing. Monitor's coming up, I think. I can see some kind of background. No sync, which is entirely true. Let's get a menu on. Okay. I would have to say that the black level on this is probably no better than the other one. But you have to bear in mind the vintage. The other one was 2006. This, I believe, is about 2008. And LCDs weren't very good at displaying black in those days. Still not really. Okay, I think we'll go ahead with connecting a signal to it. Okay, I've connected my HDCam-SR to this machine. Let's switch that on. It comes up with this, by default, this remote input, and it's not something I can seem to fix. Don't know why that does that. Get rid of that. So if I press play on the HDCam-SR, oh, we haven't got a tape in there, so that won't work for a minute. That's working nicely. Let's stop that. I'll connect this, I think, to a different source because I don't want to hit problems with any content matching or stuff on these tapes. I've connected to a digibeta recorder over there and set up the color bars and tone. And if you remember from a previous video I did, it's actually quite hard to do color bars and tone on the recorders. It's much easier on the players, but that's the cable I had to hand. And earlier on we had underscan, but now we're in native scan. If I switch that off, we've got, well, it calls it over, normal and under, always avoiding the edges. But if I hit native, that gives me what I'd call a normal picture, if you like. The transition here is still not particularly good. Actually, that transition is not particularly good either. And the blacks aren't particularly good. So in terms of performance, it's supposed to be a good deal better than the other monitor. I'm not so sure. Let's pull up the menus and see what we have in the menus. So we have some presets for chroma and brightness and contrast. How do I back out of this? Press the menu button, I think. Input configurations. So that's option 1, which was always installed. Oh, that's nice. We can name the channels. Not sure we could do that in the other one, and that's really handy for having all your different inputs so that you can know which is which. People who are cleverer than me will know what these settings are. You can see I'm poking about in the dark here. It has an option for capture, and there's a capture button here. Presumably that captures a signal, an image, onto a memory card. Yes, must do that. But does it only use Sony's obscure memory card? Right, it's doing its own internal colour signal. I'll back out of the settings, and I have to say the transition looks massively better on that, doesn't it? Huge improvement there on the transitions. So the display is perfectly capable. It appears to be something to do with the SDI signal where it struggles for that transition. Let's look at the black, the internal black. Not really that black, is it? I think even you on the camera can see that that's not black. How do I get it back to an input? Do I just select an input on here? Yes, that's it. Select the inputs on here. Monitor upgrade. I'm intrigued as to what that could be. Enter a password. Oh, I don't know what that is. Password protected. Maintenance and monitor upgrade. Standby mode off. Power on status last. I think if I power it on, I'd want it to come on. That's better. That's what I'd prefer. Oh, there we go. We can see our two options installed. I think the point of that cable at the back being that network cable, it can be peer-to-peer or proper network cable, is so that you can have the remote control, you can have this box remote to the monitor itself, and so this can send commands to that over the network. Well, that'd be logical. There's other buttons here. There's one marked marker. What does that do? Switch it on and off? Nothing, it seems. Blue only. Let's press the buttons. Blue only. Right, yes. Red off. Yeah. Green off. And blue off. Chroma up. Extra brightness, extra colour. Yes. Oh, no, I don't think that's what it's doing. Look, that's tightening the image up a lot. Chroma up. What's that doing? So chroma up, compared to, because this looks quite fuzzy, and I've hit chroma up, and it's much sharper. Though we still have a poor transition here, in fact, even slightly worse. I don't know what the chroma up button does, but it definitely does quite a lot. Sharpens image a lot. So we have manual controls for brightness and contrast. Let's adjust some of those. Phase, let's do the, will it let me do that? It's not going to let me do that. Manual chroma. I'm not seeing anything happening. Switch that off. Brightness. Ah yeah, that definitely adjusts the brightness. And contrast. And again, that's definitely adjusting the contrast. I must say the aesthetics of it are very much of a, you know, a Sony Trinitron display with this. I don't know if you can see that bevel that they've got in there, just like Sony Trinitrons had, which is not true with the other monitor. Do you think they're trying to say, look, we were getting CRT performance here? You know, why would they have done that? Why would they have given it that treatment? I'm trying to see that's very typical of a Sony Trinitron. Now this plastic here is slightly odd. I've never seen that before. Is it plastic? Actually, it might even be metal. Metal strips along top and bottom. Slightly odd. Do you know what's going on there? These strips are actually hiding part of the display. Yeah, there's more display under there. If you can just about get down there, there's actually more display, active display, being covered up here. Now, the last time I saw that was on a CRT monitor, a Sony CRT monitor, which was branded Sun for Sun Workstation. And they'd done the same thing. They didn't want the aspect ratio of the display they had, so they covered up part of it with cabinet work at the top and bottom, which I always thought was a waste of perfectly good screen. And so it appears to be here. Isn't that peculiar? You can actually see more display under this cover. Well, that's the first time I've seen that on an LCD monitor. Something else I don't quite understand is what these holes are for at the top. Clearly something is designed to sit in here. You'd have thought that the monitor would have been built with something to accept those feet so that you can have it in the configuration we presently do. Because a lot of people will want the control unit right next to the monitor, but that's not the way they've set it up. Okay, so we've demonstrated this, and it's a very capable monitor, although it seems to have a couple of minor weaknesses. This would be ideal now for acting as a display for my SDI equipment, because I don't have enough SDI inputs on the other monitor. The only slight problem being that I don't have anywhere to physically put a monitor of this weight. That's the slight problem. It's so bulky that there's nowhere in my setup here that I can, at the moment, utilize it. I need to come up with a solution for that. I suppose a logical place would be on top of this stand. You will remember my collecting this stand a little while ago. Since the HDCam SR is on there, if I could remove this box of cables, then I could sit the monitor here, and it's strong enough to take the monitor. So that would be ideal if I can find a place for my other cabling. It would be tidy there and easy to hook up to the other equipment, which includes DVC Pro, that's DVC Pro HD actually, and various Digibeta decks. So they could all be hooked up quite nicely. Well, I hope you've enjoyed having a look at these two Sony professional LCD studio monitors. I'll be getting back to doing some repairs on video recorders shortly. I've got the Sony Super Beta, which I got working and then it died again, and a Philips VR2324 V2000 machine, for which I've been given a donor machine, so hopefully I can get enough parts to make one out of the two. So do please come by later and we can work through those together. Bye for now.